We are back, kids. Welcome back. Man, that was a lot. I've learned I can't watch a Disney Plus show the same ever again. That
Dude,
was
yeah. So it's actually kind of funny. So I've never seen Moon Knight. Now I'm gonna have to go watch it. Now, of course, I have tons of spoilers now, but I'll have a whole new appreciation for it.
it's
I'm I'm 2 episodes in, and some of the things that they talked about and the insights that they had, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So it's going to be very interesting now watching it after hearing them talk about it.
yeah. I'll continue to needle all of them about hey, you guys really should do this because Dr. Goku and Guardians MH historically have done a podcast where they do a character study like that,
Hmm.
and they're great. They're called Guardians MH because Guardians are your character in the video game Destiny, and they all play Destiny, and that's how we met. We met at Guardian Con, and then did just a bunch of stuff with them. I'm so glad that he could be part. So thank you, Doc. Thanks everybody.
Yeah,
All
the whole
panels.
panel was
Absolutely,
amazing.
yeah.
They killed it.
Yeah.
And
I need the three of them in my living room now whenever I watch a show. Like, okay, we just saw 5 minutes, pause. Okay, tell me about that. I need you to analyze those characters. And then, okay, let me watch 5 more minutes, pause. Okay, tell me more.
So good. So
but
everybody,
But
so
tell
you
me
sit
what
them
I'm
down.
missing,
You get
'cause
all
I
of them
don't
in a
want
room.
to.
You sit them down. What do you put on first?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm mine's obvious is Daredevil, but
That's par for the course.
it's always Daredevil. So speaking of people in your living room, let me introduce to the folks who are on your screen real quick. So once again, I'm your MC, Nick Kelly, Rev3 Dude on all the socials and gaming and all that stuff. Back with me is my co-host extraordinaire, John McCombs, down there in the middle, in his ILFest 2020 hoodie. I switched hoodies, like I said I was going to do. Now I get my hero hoodie on.
Nice.
Yeah, I told you I'm doing my Shania Twain costume changes today, 100%.
Excellent.
How do those hips work?
What's that? Oh, yeah. Don't ask. I've been in the same chair for all day, other than getting up to get some hot chocolate. On the top, whatever corner that is, wave your hand there, Shane McCombs. There you go. Our Chief Operating Officer, Captain Hammer, Shane McCombs. And in the other corner, wave your hand, Chris Adneggy, is our fearless leader, CEO and founder, Chris Adneggy. And
Our fearful leader.
fearful? No, don't say that after that panel. Oh, yeah, we're all afraid of something after that. We're all gonna all run to WebMD. But this isn't Ask Me Anything about ILF or ILFest, either way, whatever we want to do it. And I will turn it over to John to do some talking because I'm waiting for my caffeine to kick in again, as I've already done twice today.
Understood. No, so this is an Ask Me Anything panel. So we're going to be talking. Okay, first of all, yeah, I know totally. I realized that as soon as I said it, but I mean, Shania Twain dances. All right, so we're going to let that one
I
go.
was also confused by the reference. I was. I
Well,
mean,
so,
come on,
yeah,
give
in
him a
my
break,
head, it
guys.
was
He's
hips
young.
don't lie, right?
He's young, guys. Just give him a break, okay?
It was hips don't lie is what went through my head, and I heard Shania, Shakira. I mean, it's close enough.
Shakira
Not
does a
really
lot
not.
of costume changes too, though. Let's be honest. So
Yeah, I mean,
Shakira does
Any
do a lot
pop
of
star.
costume
And their
changes.
music is so similar.
okay, you know what?
They look alike. I think they're from the same country, aren't they?
Oh my God! All right. Uh,
Shakira is now Canadian. It's canon.
Yeah.
Let's go.
yeah, that's
all there is to it.
canon now. My head canon is that Shakira is Canadian. No, but this is literally whatever. Whatever questions you guys have. It could be about the ILF, about ILF Fest, about any of our upcoming projects, anything we've done in the past, about our personal lives. I mean, it's an AMA. So as long as there's nothing about Jimily, we'll be fine.
Jimmy.
Gemily, do we need to? No, we don't need context for that. I think the people who are going to get that joke right have all been here already. So,
Oh man.
yeah.
That was such a ridiculous waste of time.
What ILFest was that? Was that 2020?
It was the second one, wasn't it?
It was the second one. It was 21.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alethea, that was a wild day.
That was
Man, that was crazy.
that
It
was
was
First,
a
that
lot
was,
of fun, but man.
When everyone was combining the characters of Jennifer and Emily on Criminal Minds, and
they were shipping
they were a
Gemily.
thing. Yeah, the mods they just almost blew up that day just trying to stop it. It was crazy.
If battle royale video games were not invented before that day, we would have invented.
Yeah. So any questions you guys have, feel free to drop them in the chat. But otherwise, we're just gonna be riffing. We're gonna be talking. There is something that I actually want to talk about. Now I know that they're not on the stream anymore, but I'm gonna put this out there so no one forgets it. There's something said at the end of the mental health panel that was really interesting to me, talking about people claiming to have DID and that they can really convince themselves that they do have it. Like a lot of the people out there on TikTok, they're not trying to spew crap; they're genuine. And so my question to our doctors out there, that maybe we can revisit another time, is it possible for someone to convince themselves they have DID and actually develop it?
Interesting.
It's good, but you have the wrong three people.
No, I know. That's why I said I'm going to lob it out there. I had to get it off my chest because I would forget it otherwise. And then we can revisit it whenever. But
let me flip a coin. I'll get you an answer because
Nice.
that's my expertise right now on that.
Yeah, I was thinking. I think you're thinking of the wrong group for that question. I can tell you what color the sky is. I can tell you that.
There is a question for this group, which I think is relevant and topical. I believe. Maybe Chris will go to you first, and then see if Shane wants to add anything in here. Which is, I believe that in terms of how ILF measures success, we just had a major milestone. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. So when we started ILF, we realized that the law enforcement agencies that we were working with would rarely come back to us and tell us the end results. And plus the end result sometimes, which of course the end result wanting to be arrest, prosecution and arrest, could take months and months from when we hand the case in. So we wanted to make sure that we can honestly report to people who were supporting us what we were doing here, right? Because that's what they're donating for. So that we wanted to be able to give them numbers of things. So we decided that when we identified a child predator or a predator group and we handed that case into a law enforcement agent and we have knowingly that they have accepted it, we count that as a completed task for us. Because after that, ILF is no longer involved. We don't handle prosecution. We don't handle arrest as much as some of us would like to. We don't handle locking them up. So once the case goes to law enforcement for us, we count that as a completed task for us. And we just hit I think it was a month or two ago, we hit 500 cases, and I think we're up to 508 now.
Yeah, it was at the gala we made the official 500 announcement. Yeah.
It was that weekend that we made the 500.
It was,
yeah.
Yeah, we weren't storing it up. It was literally like 2 days before the gala.
I was handing a case in when I landed in LA. If you remember that, I was handing that case in Baltimore to two agents when I landed in the car in LA. So yeah.
I do want to say there's something on what you just said, Chris. You made the comment that we don't handle prosecution. Why is that? Like, why is that a good thing?
Oh, that's a great thing. Well, because for us, we're not law enforcement, and we realize that. So, and we're not. And one of the things that I think is important for if anyone is here and not familiar with us is we're not a vigilante group. So you see a lot of these groups out on Facebook, like they find someone who's, they go and chat some guy up who thinks he's chatting with a 13-year-old girl, and then he invites him to McDonald's, and then they film him and say, "Why are you a child molester?" and things like that. Those vigilante groups generally don't accomplish anything good besides humiliating a person. And in cases that go to court for those, I've heard a very large percentage, and I don't want to quote a percentage because it could be wrong, but I've heard a very large, like in the 80s, those cases never get prosecuted fully because somebody did something wrong. Like they mentioned sex first, or they mentioned they flirted first, and then the lawyer gets the guy off, right? He's just like, yeah, well, it wasn't our fault. He thought he was just fantasy role playing, yada yada kind of thing, and then they walk. So we don't do any of that. So for us, our mission is we go on the open and the dark web, and we look for people who have already posted child abuse material or who have talked about trafficking or hurting children and have shown enough proof that they do that, and we identify who they are in the real world with no communication. We do that all through open source intelligence. Once we have their identity and their location, that's when we hand it off. And from there, we let the professionals take care of it. That's our skill set. Our skill set is not kicking doors down, arresting people, and throwing them in prison. Our skill set is OSINT.
I heard
there's enough people out there already doing bad things to kids. We don't have to go try to talk them into it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I mean, the statistic is there's 500,000 predators online at any given moment. That's from the FBI, and that stat is from 2011.
Yeah.
There's no telling how many are out there right now.
No, it's truly daunting. There is something I want to say real quick, not to interject or derail. I forgot to mention it at the beginning. But until 3:30, so while we're on here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna personally pledge to match the next $100 of donations. So get your donations in before 3:30, up to $100, and I will match it. So that'll double the impact on the next $100. So if anyone was waiting for a good opportunity, now there you go.
That's perfect.
Do it now.
Hey,
Take John Mitchell's money.
for perspective, Chris, you said 508 cases.
Yeah, I think we just hit 508. Am I accurate with that?
Yeah, you're accurate. We just don't have the website updated yet.
And we're in
Yeah,
year.
So you're
I think
giving
we
everyone here a
handed
little
some
sneak
in.
peek.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
year 6, right?
Yeah, 6. We just hit 6.5.
So,
Right?
how many cases were turned in year 1?
Oh man.
9.
9. That's
9.
it, right? Oh,
Actually, the first year and a half, it was 9 cases.
Well, that was like there was like 4 of us or something, right? So that was
Yeah.
really.
I wasn't here.
Mhm.
The year after that, it was 86. The year after that, it was 168. And between now and then, it's all become a blur.
Yeah.
No, it is crazy. In fact, one of the things that I'm very, very proud of is, let me pull this up. I have this. So we did this metric last year for our impact report, and let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, so since the ILF's founding, we've submitted for the last 3 years. That's what it is. So right here, for the last 3 years, on average, we've had a case accepted by law enforcement every 2 working days.
That's a really nice stat.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a really nice stat. That makes me really proud. I don't know
It's
if I've heard
it's
that
a
one yet.
never-ending process.
It is, but when I first started this, I remember constantly feeling overwhelmed. Like we're never going to make a dent. We're never going to do that. But then in the last year, I think we've had a couple cases where we worked some very personal grooming cases where parents reached out to us and law enforcement couldn't help. And we got one of the most beautiful letters from a father of a young girl who was convinced she was going to run away with the love of her life and marry him and live happily ever after, this adult man that had convinced this poor 13-year-old that she hated her family and needed to be with him. And through getting him caught and working with the family, she just graduated nursing school. She's working with old people. And he wrote us this beautiful letter that gives me goosebumps when I think about it, saying that, thank you for giving me my daughter back. So at this point, I know it's a never ending problem. And I know that little old ILF isn't going to stop child predators completely. But hey, man, I'll take it. I'll take it when it's something like that, when we can have stories like that. I'll take the little tiny dent that we can make. That makes it all worthwhile right there.
Well, you guys know the starfish story, right?
Yeah.
The kids walking along the beach, and there's all kinds of starfish washed up on the beach, and he's picking one up and throwing it back in, picking up another one, throwing it back in. This old curmudgeon guy walks by and goes, "What are you doing? You're never going to make a difference." The little kid looks up at him, picks up a starfish, looks him in the eye, tosses it in the water, and he goes, "Made a difference to that one." I love that story because that's what we're doing, right? Every child, every family that we're helping, it makes a huge difference to them.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
Yeah.
We have a good question in chat, which is, what does 2024 look like for the ILF?
The person who asked that is going to have a lot of homework for asking that question.
Yes, sir. John Mitchell, that's you. What are we looking like?
That's a good question for you, man.
There's a lot of stuff going on for 2024. I guess my question to you, Shane, is what are we allowed to talk about at this point? What can we?
We're allowed to say that there will be
an
an ILFest 2024. I'm just going on record. You have to do it myself
Absolutely.
without anybody else. That's happening.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, 2024 ILFest is a big deal. That's going to be our 5-year anniversary ILFest.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
and we already have some people, actors lined up, some talent lined up for it, so we're good.
No, that's going to be a big one
It
for
is.
sure.
I'm excited.
Our 5th
Well,
ILFest. We'll have to come up with a good shtick for that one.
Can you
Like,
just
guarantee you
celebrate the
this.
fact that you don't have to eat anything today?
I believe me, I was so happy. And then I made a mistake. I made a mistake while we were in the green room, and I mentioned how much I personally hate eggnog. And both of these jackwagon started laughing and going, "There it is." And
There
I'm
it
like,
is.
"No, guys." I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't have said it." I'm like, "I love eggnog. This thing is
Warm
filled with
eggnog.
eggnog. It's filled
Warm
with eggnog.
Yeah.
I drink eggnog when I work out. That's what I do. I don't even drink water. I drink eggnog. That's how much I love it. I love it. Okay.
Well, one of my favorite
Maybe we
moments
can get him to
from
snort warm eggnog.
Oh,
think?
fuck.
oh,
Oh,
one of my favorite things from ILF Fest 22 with the sandwich of suffering, right? We built this absolutely disgusting, horrific sandwich. I actually genuinely felt bad about that one.
And you should.
It was hard to watch.
that was
But
tough.
It was
Chris
harder
ate
to
this.
eat. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. Chris ate this ridiculous sandwich. Of course, then he
Oh.
chased it with Glenn Roth's 30, so that's fine.
Yes.
But
We need a picture of Chris's face so we can show.
Oh.
while
it's
he was
so
eating the
bad.
sandwich. It was disgusting.
But one of my favorite moments was one of the worst things that got added to it was durian, right? Which is like a traditionally awful thing. And then we get done and we're all hanging out after and everything and just talking about how crazy it was. And Chris pops open a bag of durian chips and just starts eating them.
I love durian.
We thought we were getting him.
My wife is from Thailand, right? So when we go to Thailand, I mean, they sell durian everywhere. I fell in love with it there. So I would just eat a whole container of fresh durian. I'm like, this is great. So you guys thought you were getting me. But honestly, you guys mixed durian with cotton candy on pineapple pizza with gefilte fish
Mhm.
and dried earthworm jerky.
Yep.
There were some other really vile things on there. It
Yeah,
just
what were the other things? There
oh.
were some rough things.
So there,
Gefilte fish.
there's
It was-
the mental health panel will tell you that all of us have blocked at least one ingredient out of each of our minds.
yeah.
I gotta
think
find it. I'm gonna
necessary.
drop it in chat for everyone's viewing displeasure.
Oh,
Nobody wants that.
Oh.
Hey, just a reminder for the next 15 minutes, John Mitchell's going to match up to $100 in donations, just so we want to
Oh,
make sure that that's out there.
Tully, I thought you liked me. Tully, I thought we were friends.
Hey, Tully, the thing that I didn't
Hi.
say ahead of time is that ILFest 2024 is in July. So,
Oh.
warm eggnog out of the gallon. Can we set it in the sun first for a while?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not going to get sick physically. I mean,
No. But a piping hot bowl of eggnog.
eggnog is already like someone just hocked up loogies into a container, and that's what it tastes like. I mean,
And this is why we don't let Chris on the air too.
Oh god.
so one of the things that has happened over the last year and a half has been we changed a lot of the board members. A lot of new folks came on, and one of the things that came out of that, obviously, we had a chance to go to TwitchCon, which was amazing. But also there was this big formal gala, and you're gonna hear gala and gala because we intentionally just bounce back and forth because neither
Who
one of us
frickin'
knows.
I gave up so long ago.
Nobody even knows. But that was September, right? So
September.
yeah. So I am on the wrong coast. Any of you guys want to say what that experience was? Because it sounded like it was pretty incredible. Maybe some people who were there who we might want to thank for their efforts.
The gala was amazing. It was the most challenging thing I think that we've ever done in terms of an event for this organization. Not only in the scale and scope of it, but I mean, it was on the other coast. We were dealing with celebrities, which I have a love-hate relationship with celebrities now. And it was insane. The week leading up to it, I mean, I can't even remember how many things and errands we had to run and things we threw together and built. And it was just so crazy. It's such a blur, but it was such an amazing night. At the end of it all, it was a phenomenal experience. And to kind of circle back to the original question, which was what do we have to look forward to in 2024, will be the second annual Ending Child Exploitation Gala.
So we've got a couple dates we're shooting for. Don't save these dates yet because nothing is in stone.
save them all.
Save them all, yeah. We're shooting for Batman Day, September 21st.
That's the one that's already going to happen. Come on.
That's the one we got to do.
Batman. Day. 'Cause then
possibly
I'm
the
coming.
week
I'm
later,
coming in a
28th.
Batman, a 1970s Batman leotard. That's what I'm wearing to the gala. If
We
we
want
do it on
people to
Batman Day,
attend, Chris.
I'm coming in a. I've been working out, man. I look pretty good in a leotard. It'll be skin
Oh.
tight. and I'll be wearing no underwear. Just saying. But just so we just
If you're gonna go old school Adam West, I may have to go old school like Cesar Romero, or like we definitely need to have some villains. Batman
yeah,
villains.
man.
There.
I mean, I say I'm gonna go old school Adam West. I'm just gonna wear that leotard proud. I'm coming to the gala on Batman Day, and I'm gonna do my whole speech in the bat. I'm Batman. Just gonna do it like that.
With your Batman shark repellent.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I love
Sorry,
that.
sorry.
Repellent,
Sorry.
what was it? Shark repellent bat spray.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when
He
he got
just happened
dropped
to
in
have
that
it in his
tank,
belt.
you know. Yeah, because when he got dropped in the tank, he was able to keep the sharks away by
Yeah.
spraying.
Well, you always gotta have that. You gotta always have shark spray in your belt.
I mean,
Just
I
in
had it when I was used to surf all the time. I mean, don't go in the water without it.
Was it Batman branded, or was it just your own? Was it just?
It was on my own branded.
generic.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
you know.
All right. Back to the question. Focus,
Yeah, but
boys.
the question. So we had on the gala,
I've got an
our
answer.
host was LeVar Burton,
Yeah.
and he was amazing to work with. And it was really kind of just great to meet him. And then thanks to one of our new board members, Aaron Gray, we also had this phenomenal band, the Action Figures, which are all actors from like the show Lost, and Greg Grunberg is like from Star Wars and a bunch of other stuff. You could just look them up. They're very well known.
I heard he was in Big Ass Spider. Is that true?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, he
Yeah, it
is.
was-
I
Not
learned that
only
the-
was he in it, he wrote, directed, starred, produced. I mean, that was his thing, man.
I learned that this morning. I just had to prove that I listened to when John talks. That's all.
Hey,
It was so
John
good,
Mitchell,
dude. You gotta watch
gotta-
it. Add it to your list.
Can you
He's-
verify? It looks like you got a $50 donation, but it didn't show up. Somebody's back channeling me. So
Oh.
looks like you're $50 down on your $100.
On your $100.
Hold
I
on.
gotta-
Where'd that come through? I don't see it yet. I'm just saying.
Chris,
So,
keep talking.
Anyway,
While John's distracted.
Greg was amazing. The whole band was amazing. They were so generous. They got motivated to be part of the fundraiser. When they were there, they didn't really know a lot about us, so they came in. We had we contracted them to come play, so they were coming in doing a gig, and when they got there and they kind of heard what it is that we do, and they met the team, they were so motivated that during the final fundraiser, they threw in this thing where people can donate to come hang out with them and see a session. And we had two teams, two people bidding against each other. So at the end, Greg's like, look, if you both, I don't want it just to keep going and fighting, but if you both want it, you can both have it for the same price. So they were just so generous and easy to work with. It was really, really wonderful. We accomplished things at the gala I didn't think we'd be able to do year one. It was just so much fun, so well put together. John did such a great job pulling it all off. The team really came together. It was just a beautiful location. We had so many great people there. It was a really, really nice event. I didn't know what to expect. I don't really go to those too much, so it was just an interesting event, and I can't wait for next year and see what we do even better.
It was a lot of fun. It really was, and it's gonna be good next year. There's a lot of things already in the works and we learned so much. We learned so much from year one that year two is gonna be even better. There's another very exciting thing. We kind of teased it earlier though in April. So be on the lookout very, very closely on ILF social media, because in a couple of weeks, we're going to be making a pretty big announcement with regards to something going on in April in Kentucky. That's all I'm going to say right now, but keep it in the back of your mind.
What happens in Kentucky?
It's not a huge jump if you start thinking about it.
Kentucky Derby.
I think things are coming up roses for the ILF.
It is.
You know what? I'm just going to spill it, guys. Here's what it is. I'm going to be a jockey at the Kentucky Derby.
Dressed as Batman.
And then dressed as
Dressed as Batman.
And I'm doing it as a fundraiser. And they're bringing out a Clydesdale horse for me, because that's the only kind of horse that can fit me, because I'm not a small guy. And I'm going to race against the other jockeys in a Batman costume.
That'd be great.
Okay, but I'm actually thinking about this. That's not a bad idea.
Oh, yes, it's a very bad idea.
It's a terrible idea. On behalf of the horse, that's a terrible idea.
That's a very, very bad idea.
Okay, but there's potential here. If you seriously think about it, right?
John, listen. Okay, I'm going to say something that I know I'm going to regret. If you make that happen as a fundraiser, I will do it.
Oh boy.
Okay.
All right.
Remember the last time you said that?
All right.
I know.
Everybody stop and just let's publicly acknowledge that Chris just said if I can make it happen that he gets to race in the Kentucky Derby.
Well,
as a
you know,
fundraiser.
here's what I can say because I doubt the Kentucky Derby, but I will do one lap around that course on a horse in a Batman costume for fundraising.
And
But
the,
it cannot be for $100. You got to raise some serious money here.
and the horse.
what's the-
we have to
what's
find.
the-
We have to find a
give us
horse
the
named
challenge,
Eggnog.
man.
And that's a fun horse named Eggnog. and when I win against myself, that would be my celebratory drink, Eggnog.
Eggnog. Yeah, we pour it all over you like the milk.
Like Gatorade.
Yeah, the Gatorade.
Oh.
Chris, I need you to take the shovel out of your mouth right now because you're just digging yourself a deeper hole.
I don't think John can do this one. Listen, I'm so dumb. All right,
Oh,
I'm
did I
dumb.
mention that my brother lives in Louisville? Okay, let's
Yeah.
make sure that and he knows some people. He
I
definitely
don't-
knows some people at the track. So, yeah.
Quote, I don't think John can do this one. All right. Challenge accepted.
Okay, now listen.
I think in the chat it says gauntlet is down, and the next chat is the gauntlet was thrown down on a glass table.
Yes,
No
Correct.
less.
but
Yeah.
I want to get back here because we have a question that is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Would you all agree there's an uptick in social vigilantism regarding child predators? And if so, what do you think can be done to re-educate, redirect these individuals' efforts so they're not hindering possible future cases? So I'm going to take first stab at that. We do see an uptick. We see an uptick because there's been so much awareness towards exploitation of children, which is a good thing, right? There's so much awareness about that, and people are angry and they want to do something. So their motivations are good. And there's all these famous TikTokers out there that got super famous, like that one guy, I can't remember his name, but he's got a beard and he helps uncover people who do social injustice, right? Somebody who will use a bad word or a racial slur against someone and they're on camera and he says, okay, tell me who this is. And then they report them to their boss and people have repercussions for acting like jerks. So you see that and you're like, yes, justice, this is good. So people get motivated and they want to do the right thing. And sadly, like what was being asked here, a lot of times they don't. It's not helpful. It's not helpful to law enforcement. And law enforcement themselves will say, as a matter of fact, when we approach a law enforcement agency and offer our assistance, this is the very first thing they ask us.
Yep.
Before they agree to anything, they ask us for our process and what we do. And if I don't bring it up, they'll say, "Do you do any undercover work?" And we have to say no. As soon as we say no, literally, you can hear a sigh of relief. You can hear them go, oh, okay. Because working with organizations that do that is so difficult, right? I mean, you have to have the highest regulations if you do that. Now, I'm not saying we'll never do that, but that will be after training. We're working with NCMEC, we're working with ICACs, whatever. Maybe that will happen down the road. Right now, we're not ready because we're not prepared and we're not trained.
If
So-
and when law enforcement puts it within the scope of one of
Yeah.
our cases,
Yeah.
then we'll consider if we're qualified to accept it, but not
Yeah.
until then.
So what can we do is the final part of that question. I don't have a good answer to that, right? I think if there were more educational campaigns from law enforcement telling people that when you go out and you perform social justice, that it doesn't really help, that maybe that would motivate those people to look for putting their time into one of the organizations that already works with law enforcement. Right? I mean, if those people came to us and said, hey, I have tons of time and I really hate child abusers, I want to help stop them. Great. Let us teach you how we do it. You come on and you can help us. We would take them and we would want to use them to help stop this crime, but do it in the right way. So I think educational campaigns to tell people that when you go out and you do things like this, it actually damages the likelihood of those people getting arrested could help. But I don't have a better answer. I'm not sure if either of you guys do.
I think
Yeah.
one of your principles
You're
that I
on
just want to call out, Shane, because I know where you're going, is above reproach, right? Because it's not just the case will get prosecuted; it's potential harm back to the folks who are trying to do good, right? Is that where you're going, Shane?
Yeah, and also leaning into the whole education thing, we now have a request a speaker up on the website for the Innocent Lives Foundation. It's starting to get used. We're getting people who are requesting us to come out on Zoom, talk to their group. We've already started showing up on site. We just flew up to Joplin, Missouri. The local folks there flew us up. We sat down. We got to speak to the community. We got to speak to the business community and both parents and children. It was an amazing event. Use us. That's what we're here for. We're happy to come out and talk. Get us invited out places so we can start educating the people who are influencing our children's lives. their teachers, their parents, their caretakers, and the business people in the community. The more you get us in front of people where we can have these conversations and set expectations, tell them how to talk with their kids, that's how we spread this out.
Yeah.
You want to let me go back because I mentioned the guiding principles. John, you did a good job explaining them this morning, but I think just touching on each of even not all of them, but even touching on the ones that really do address Tully's question about social vigilantism, like how they all kind of tie together, I think is good. You mentioned, right? Don't harm the volunteers, don't harm the folks who are trying to do good things. Never educate the offenders, right?
Yep.
Predator, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then
and that's one, if I can stop you there, that's one I really want to talk about real quick again with regards to Tully's question, right? Because I'll give you a brief story. So do you guys remember Jared from Subway?
yes.
Yeah, everyone knows Jared from Subway, right? He was a huge, huge thing. And he turned out to be someone who abused children, right? Or indulged in child abuse materials, right? And that's sort of a big shock to the world at the time. Well, for a long time, law enforcement was trying to get him. They were trying to prove that what he was doing. And they couldn't do it. Well, they finally were successful by training a beautiful little chocolate lab named Bear, and he became the world's first USB sniffing dog. So Bear was able to sniff USBs, sniff hard drives, sniff SD cards, and it's absolutely insane. This dog is brilliant. But they used Bear, they went into his house, and they found that he was storing his child abuse materials on USBs in his wall. Okay. And Bear found it. And it was great. And he got arrested and he's paying for his crimes. The problem is the next day on the news was law enforcement praising Bear, talking about how great this new thing was that they can do and how great of a job their team did. And while they did do a great job, what do you think was on all of the forums the next day? It was predators discussing how to protect yourself from USB sniffing dogs. Right? And so they had this great idea and they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
And a great tool. And they can only use it once.
And they can only use it once. And so when it comes to the social justice, right? These social justice warriors out there on YouTube, on TikTok, they're actively talking about how they got this guy, right? They're talking about the mistakes that he made, how they were able to prove who he is. And all it's going to do is continue to educate predators and make them harder to catch. And I just see that Alethea, thank you for the $50 donation. So that brings us right up to $100. So let me submit my donation, and I'll leave it to Shane to talk about the rest of our guiding principles.
Well, I would love to, except I think we're out of time.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, we are at time. Yes. We got, if you could do it in 2 minutes, or talk most importantly about how folks can get involved, where they can find information if they haven't been reading the chat all day, if they're just new kind of coming in. And then we'll move on to this panel of incredibly talented actors who are coming in here in 10 minutes. I'm really excited.
InnocentLivesFoundation.org. There's all types of stuff there. You can reach out, you can contact us, you can ask questions, you can request a speaker, you can frequently ask questions there. You can report a case if you need to. And we're all available to you. You just reach out at contact at InnocentLivesFoundation.org. Tell us who you want to speak with, or the request a speaker, even put one of our names in it and tell us you'd like to have a personal conversation. We'll see what we can do to connect with you. There's just that in the 5 years that we've been building this website, there's an incredible amount of information that is so useful there. How was that for
That was outstanding. Oh, there's another donation. Is that you, John?
That's me.
That's you, buddy. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank all three of you for being here. I know we didn't always have this on the agenda, so I appreciate everybody coming on camera, looking, decent. We'll go with decent. And then we're gonna take a real quick break, and then we have our acting panel: Joe Osmansky, actor Daniel Ross, and Neil Hopkins. And then we're gonna come on back for a closing statement. So you guys start muddling what it is that you want to say as our final thoughts, parting shots, and we will see everybody in just a minute.
Hey, Nick.
Thank you all very much.
Great chatting with you,
Nick,
Tully.
Nick, before you go.
Sir.
I'm going to do the same thing John Mitchell did. I'm going to put up $100. So
All
let's
right.
see if people will match it.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
so see what we can do.
Sounds good. Thank you, Shane.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
See y'all.